Hey, welcome back, my volunteer friends. Well, Bob, last night, Tennessee shot about as poorly as you can from outside, but somehow we made it out of the round of the first weekend.
Yeah. Uh, Tim, I don't know if I've seen a team shoot that poorly and win a game. I mean, I don't, offensively, we just didn't have it. I have to give two things huge props that won that game. Our defense was just awesome all night long. They just
It was.
struggled, just keeping the possession. Um, and Ziegler for just creating points. I mean, he just constantly was driving in and giving somebody an easy shot, seemed like.
Yeah,
Without
wasn't
that,
always making them,
I
but
know,
he
you
put
know,
so much pressure on the Texas defense. And Texas played a hell of a game last night as far as that goes.
hmm
They shut down Connect big
yeah,
time.
they
I
did.
mean, 18 points ain't exactly shutting somebody down, seems like, but it is for Dalton. He did not shoot well. Him and
Right.
Zakai both 1 of 8 from the 3 point line.
Honestly, you go back and look at the stats. It's like, how did you win that game? On
3 of 25,
3 of 20.
12%
Yeah.
from the 3 point line,
I
and
don't
you win.
know personally. I don't remember us ever shooting that bad from three and
Hey,
winning.
12% 3 point line, you only win those games when you shoot about 6 3 pointers for the whole game. You
Right.
know,
Exactly. Not
you
25.
yeah,
Um,
hit the
some
big free throws at the end of the ball game to
Yeah, the two biggest was from Adu probably, and the two I did not see coming because that kid played like crap last night. At the beginning of the game, I'm not sure if you
well,
had somebody down there that didn't have any hands. I think they'd been just as good as Adu did down.
well, Tennessee definitely wanted to get Ado off to a good start last night,
Yeah, they fed him.
and they fed him, and he yeah,
I mean, he missed a dunk. Uh,
bobbled the ball a couple of times, missed a couple of free
they
layups.
stole the ball
They
from
had to
him.
get a Walker in there quickly, and
Yeah, and he now
he
Walker
performed
had a
pretty
pretty
well.
good game. I
Yeah,
mean, he did.
wasn't
Walker.
some foul trouble fairly quick. But that's what Toby does.
Yeah,
Uh,
unfortunately, and he could have really had a big game. I wasn't for fouls, he might would have had like a 17, 18 point game. I mean, he was doing really
he
well,
was aggressive and playing well. Uh,
hitting shots. Yeah,
I was very glad to see uh, Josiah
hmm
do well. Uh, didn't kill it
right,
offensively, but had 9 points, which I'll take from him any day of the week,
hmm
and then 9 rebounds.
right,
Um, that's almost a double double. You would never thought it just looking at watching the game sometimes. But he hit a big three there late in the second half, which when you only hit three for the whole game, I guess they all three are big threes.
yeah, they're huge.
Um, but yeah, but Josiah, he produced for us.
hmm
Santi still, he just totally lost his offensive confidence, but he still getting after it on the defensive
Yeah,
end.
you ain't kidding. Because he honestly, um, he's not even. I could outshoot him in a game from three. That's how bad he's shooting right now.
Yeah, and
The,
I've seen you shoot threes.
right,
So
exactly. I mean, he's got no faith in his outside shot, and most of them aren't even close. I mean, they're not even on target. I mean,
yeah,
they're
they're bad shots. I
yeah,
mean, ugly.
yeah, they're off by 8, 9 inches. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah, he has a. I don't understand it. This kid, first team all conference, coaches sophomore and junior
Mhm.
season. I mean, no reason for him to not have confidence in his outside shot or his offensive game. Period. But
One of our all-time leaders in three-point shooting.
yeah,
I mean,
he just has not really. What's the word I'm hunting for? He's not adjusted to
yeah,
his offensive role with Dalton on the team.
I think
Other
that's
than the
what.
fact
Yeah,
that he has said Dalton's the guy, so we're going to make sure he gets. I'm not taking Dalton's shots,
right.
but uh, he just got to where he wouldn't take shots at all. Sometimes he passes up so many open threes.
I know.
Uh,
And and I think if this team's going to advance very far, Vescovi's going to have to,
He's gonna have to have big games somewhere along the
yeah,
way.
somewhere along the way they're going to need him. I
They're
mean,
gonna need him.
he's going to have to shoot some.
Like tonight, we needed Josiah. Josiah showed up, had a good all around game.
Hmm.
Didn't take over,
Right.
had a good game. That's what we need because we got the other guys to take over.
Well, at least if he gets an open three, he's actually hitting it. He's one of the few right now that will actually pull the trigger. Uh, I mean, it's actually a negative. I know when you're shooting 3 of 25, you don't want to shoot a lot of threes, but you got to hit them if they're open. I mean,
You got to take them if they're
you
open.
got to take them. But well, Tim, let's dig into our next opponent, Creighton.
The Blue Jays.
Yeah, uh, number 3 seed. So obviously, no pushover, even despite their name. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
25-9 for the season.
mhm.
Good quality team.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Offensively, Bob, a lot like Alabama, puts up a lot of
Hmm.
threes.
Yeah, they'll motion you to death, screen you to death, trying to get somebody open at some point, and they love jacking up threes.
Yeah, Sherman, I believe that's how you say his name. He's taken, I believe, 283 point attempts this year.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to shoot it. Um, then they've got his name's escaping me now, but another kid has taken over 200.
Hmm.
You know, in contrast, I don't think we've had anybody take 200.
Right.
If we have, it's only, well, maybe Dalton, but I think he's like barely over 200, 218,
Right.
208, maybe something like that. Um, yeah, but this team, Creighton jacks up threes
Yeah.
offensively.
They also have a big man that's about 7'1", but on the bright side, you Adu
They
has
struggled against
struggled against big,
quality big men, and this guy averages like 18 points and 9 rebounds a game.
but he is a lot like Adu. This guy's not a power guy, which is the ones that really Adu struggles with. Um, this guy, he'll go out and shoot threes. I mean,
Yeah, I mean he don't
good
shoot
ball
up a
player.
lot, but he
Right.
I think he's had 40 for the year. But he will pull it if it's out there.
Yeah, he's a good center, but I think he's a center that we can contain. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to hold him down to 5 points, but uh, he's not the kind of guy that just dominates inside and will just kill us.
Right.
The and speaking of Adu, in my opinion, he's probably the key of the game. Um, we was talking about how he was playing against Texas. Adu just I've noticed this year if he struggles at the beginning of the game, they foul him a little bit.
Don't
They
get
don't
caught.
get called. They strip him. He misses a couple easy shots early on. It affects him the entire game. He gets in his head. It was like that last night. He'll even quit taking shots. So it is so important for him to get off to a good start. If he gets off to a good start, those bad things can happen later in the game, and he seems to be okay with it. But it can't happen at the beginning of the game. That is something to really look for. Uh, what kind of game does he start it with? I think they're going to feed him just like they did last night. Feed him the ball early
Yeah.
because I think he can be. I think this is a good matchup for him.
It is, and I think he was telling me that their big man doesn't really do well against the pick and roll game.
Doesn't seem like it to me. I watched him a little bit. Seems like he gets lost a little bit, and
We run that well, and I
and
believe the guy's going to have a good game, really good game against Creighton.
yeah, I think
Their
he's
point
good.
guard, who's averages like 10, 11 points a game, uh, doesn't have a gigantic size advantage on.
Hmm.
Uh, it's a guy. He's 6'1", and I think the guy can really get around this kid.
Yeah, and another player I think will have a big game. Will need to have a big game. Obviously, is Dalton Knecht. I mean, I think I really think they'll have a struggle being able to match up somebody with him because he can take it to the hoop, he can shoot the three. I don't know if they got somebody that can guard both.
Texas played a tremendous game against him last night. Made him work for every single thing he got. And to be honest about it, Dalton really wasn't on last night.
Right.
Was not having a good game, outside game. Did take it to the hole some, but I don't think Creighton's going to be able to handle it. I'm
Right.
predicting 30 plus.
Right, I do too. Well, let me ask you this, Tim. How do you view last night's game? I've seen different people look at it different ways. Is we struggled horribly offensively. Does that make you think we have a bounce back against Creighton, or are we in a major slump?
Well, I mean, there's evidence, Bob, that we're in a slump since
Mm-hmm.
the Kentucky game.
Yeah, there really is.
There
We're
really
not
is.
shooting as good.
And it's funny, the 2 weeks prior to that, I think we could have beat about any team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it seemed like we peaked just a little too early, which is a common thing under Barnes. Uh, Picks a little too early. However, I'm going to say we're going to bounce back. I don't see Knecht having another bad game.
Right.
And Zakai, sometimes his shots are falling, sometimes they're not. But he's playing really good offensively and
Mm-hmm.
defensively
Oh yeah.
out there. And you know, I know I'm not wearing orange this morning, but I'm got my big orange sunglasses on right now. I think we bounce back and handle Creighton by double digits.
The potential's there, and I kind of agree with everything you just said. I think we have been slumping, but when you go 3 of 25 from three, I can't believe we do that 2 games in a row. I think we've got to get up to close to 40% from three for the next game, uh, which we'll probably need to win. I think uh, obviously the key game to me will be two things. How does Adu play? Adu needs to have a big game, and the 3-point shooting. We can't allow them to. They're going to jack up a bunch. We can't give them some good looks.
No, we can't. We fight through screens pretty well,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to try to screen us quite a bit to open up their guys. But and sometimes we struggle against 3-point teams. But that's generally a lot of times when we're dropping somebody down inside to help out,
Exactly. That's what I was
and
fixing to say.
so we may not have to do that quite as much
Mm-hmm.
this coming game. So maybe we can, be physical on the outside, keep in their face, don't give them any open looks.
Right. I think that's the big thing. That's why I think Adu is so critical. I think he's got to maintain the big guy. And, if the guy's getting some jumpers, that's one thing. But if we're having to send somebody down low to try to help, that seems like that's where we get killed. They'll get some dish outs, some motion, some throw it over to the other side, and next thing you know, you got somebody with an open three. We can't allow that.
Now, I kind of look for Meshack maybe to get a little bit more run this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got a little height advantage on a couple of their guards, and should be able to make it a little bit more difficult shooting over him.
Yeah.
But that's Friday.
You're right.
I'm not sure of the time yet.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
sure
think
it's even set.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think it's been released yet.
So it's Friday up in Detroit. Sweet 16, Bob.
Yeah, huge game for Rick Barnes and the Vols. His legacy. Uh, you hope that this game was our bad game.
Mm-hmm.
And most teams that make a championship run, they have a
Survive
bad
a game.
game. Yeah. They have that one game that they just have to somehow survive. Hopefully, that's
the one we just went through.
That was the game we was supposed to lose. Maybe we can get that out of our heads. Hey, that was it.
I know in the years past we'd shot like we did from the outside. We would go home.
We would have. Yeah.
So, but as it is, 2 down, 4 to go.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Blue Jays. Let's clip them feathers, Bob.
That's right. Let's do that, and let's just see what happens. I mean, hopefully, I'd like to play Gonzaga instead of Purdue, which is possible. We'll see what happens there. But I'm just hoping we can get the Elite Eight out. Okay, well let me ask you something else, Tim. What is a good season? What what is a good season for the Vols? Where do we have to go? How far do we have to go? Was it Sweet 16?
No.
Okay, I agree with that. I think we need to make the Elite Eight, but is Elite Eight good enough?
No, not for me, and I'll tell you why. We've had similar teams that I would say the Elite Eight, good season, great season,
Yeah,
and for a team that's not had postseason success, Elite Eight should never be a disappointment.
yeah,
But when you get a guy who transfer in that's a legitimate contender for National Player of the Year, uh, and probably would be if they called 3 second anymore.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, because Eddie wouldn't average 14 points a game if they called three
I
seconds.
know, and he just camped
Uh,
out there underneath the goal.
but if you've got a National Player of the Year coming in on a team that very experienced, very talented, had been successful for a decade basically under
Yeah,
Barnes, um, and have stayed in the top 10 all year long, around
hmm
that number 4, 5, 6 position.
hmm
For a good year, successful year, I think we got to get a Final Four. Anything else, I'm gonna be disappointed. I'll be honest about it.
I kind of will be too. I mean, I ain't gonna say if we can make it to final Elite Eight, then I'm gonna be okay. Oh, it's okay. I, I'm not going to considering how crappy our current tournament record is. I'm not sure where I feel on that. Is it are we playing with house money after that or not? Um, but really, you're right. With the seniors we have, with the depth we have, with Connect. Um,
Well, we may have our best point guard of all time on this team.
well, honestly, man, we are one of the top four teams in the country. So
Play up to it.
play up to it. Yeah, play up to it.
Yeah.
No easy task. Now, if we go against Purdue, we play them down the last little bit. It's a super tight game. We play a good game. They just outperform us. I'll be able to live with that, I think. But I think that is the thing. We can't go in there and get. That might be what I'm gonna say. Make
How
the Elite Eight and play a good game. Don't go into that game and play poorly and say, well, that was us. We choked. We didn't
yeah.
play. We did. Now, if we play a better team and they perform and they're stroking it from outside,
Yeah.
and
Sometimes hey, you play a better team, you lose. That's it. That happens.
it can happen. I mean, it definitely happens all the time. But show some dignity and don't show that you lost because it's what's been going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, at some point you got to overperform,
Sure, you do. Yeah.
and I mean, if you don't overperform this year, when will
When you
you
gonna do it?
ever?
Yeah. True. Well, guys, what wait for us? We'll probably have a look for another video or two. We'll probably have some content about spring practice coming up in the next couple of days. Uh, Actually, probably a couple of videos this week about spring practice, talking about how players are doing, what's going on. There's a scrimmage Wednesday, uh,
Yeah. Pro day
pro
also.
day. There's a lot of stuff coming out about
Yeah.
spring practice right now. A lot of stuff we won't talk about.
Yeah, and of course, this past this weekend has been a gigantic day for recruiting. We've had almost 50 guys there.
Yeah. Look
Uh,
for a video about that too as well.
yeah, and of course the baseball team trying to win the series today against Ole Miss.
They need to.
Let's go, Tony V.
Hmm.
Split so far we're 1-1,
Yeah.
and got the rubber game today.
Yeah. Really important for them to.
They need to win the series at home.
They do. They need to be going the next weekend at least 500
Yeah,
in conference. Well, guys, we'll talk to you later and go Vols.
go Big Orange.